friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 55 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
This week we are covering chapters 44 to 54 of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, so you don't have to read the whole book to listen. You just have to be caught up on the chapters we're covering. Woo! Amanda, darling, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm actually so excited to show you these.
Okay.
So, my aunt gave me all those seltzers.
Yes.
She also got junior seltzers for the girls.
Cute.
And these are fucking bomb. This one has a dragon on it.
Yep.
And it's bomb. It tastes like sparkling fruit punch.
Wow.
No sugar, no calories, no chemicals.
I want to try that. It's
literally
polar?
It's so good. But I have 4 of them because they're so small.
You're like, I'm going to chug that in one sip.
Yeah, I'm like, it's 3 sips for me, probably.
Yeah.
But what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking some water. I love
Very good.
Life Water.
Very good.
Polar Life Water, sponsor us. I'm just kidding.
What is the picture inside the bottle today?
Oh, there's
there one inside?
Not in this one.
Oh.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
Bottle.
This is a boring one.
It's a boring one. It's okay, because this won't be a boring episode, so.
Hells no, there's sex.
Hell yeah.
All right, so cheers to episode 55 of Bookish Bliss and our second to last section by section episode.
Yay!
Cheers,
darling. Love me a little sparkling fruit punch. Are you so excited to fucking finish this book after this recording?
Yes.
Woo! I can't wait.
I know. I am, but I'm not at the same time. I am kind of thankful that we went so slow so I could enjoy it. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not ready for it to be over because we've just taken our time reading it.
I know. I'm like excited to know what everybody knows who finished it, but also I'm sad it's going to be over.
I also don't want to know what everybody knows.
I know.
I already cried in this episode. So
yeah, Megan will not be speaking as much for 53. Otherwise, we'll have her crying on the podcast.
I don't think I wrote a single note. I said I'm in protest. I said I'm not saying anything. And Amanda's like, okay, you fucking psychopath.
Well, let's get started with the good stuff. Breakdown Onyx Storm, part 5. We'll get to that when we get to that.
As a reminder, Amanda and I have not read past chapter 54. We have not seen any spoilers. Honestly, like what happened in chapter 54, I had no idea that was going to happen. So we've done a pretty good job of keeping spoiler free for the last, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Which is
go fucking us and go
crazy.
Our followers for not spoiling it for us.
Yes. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers to you guys.
Thanks for just laughing at us and being like, can't wait till you finish.
Literally.
Well, we have a lot to say today. So again, our summaries will be back, I think, just once we finish this book because I'm not emotionally available for summaries at this time. I'm in mourning.
So we will start with the epigraphs. And of course, we have this long-ass one for our first one.
Though I cracked up reading this epigraph, so.
I know. It is funny. Chapter 44. The epigraph is, Your Majesty, unfortunately, I can find no law that supersedes the unification scrolls. The provincial commitment under Queen Alondra the Bold, 207.1, consolidating the province's armies under the Queen's standard for the Poramish conflict, expired with the Second Arisha Accord, and control of all forces should, crossed out, must be returned to the provinces from which they hail. I recommend demanding, crossed out, asking for a new provincial commitment covering our current conflict. The provinces will never agree after the rise in conscription rates, crossed out. My advice, do not anger Tyrinder's Duke, who now commands the largest portion of our army, crossed out. Screw this. I hate my job, crossed out. And this is unsent drafted correspondence of Colonel Agatha Mayfair, Royal Archivist.
Yeah. I was just cracking up reading this. I was like, screw this. I hate my job.
Yeah, here we go.
A very world building chapter. I
Yeah.
had one note.
Really?
Don't worry.
Should have grabbed 5 of these polis. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a lot to say about it though.
Yeah. Leadership separated them completely and questioned them for 12 hours. General Atos lets it slip that King Tori is so grateful to have Arik back that he's forbidden any form of punishment.
I was like,
woo!
oof, yeah, fuck you, Atos.
Stupid Atos. I love when he gets fucking shit on.
Yeah, literally no one has respect for you. Not one
No.
single person.
Nope. So they go over the trip details for hours, and Violet basically, she's thinking they're looking for the holes in their story here.
But there's none.
There's none.
Quest Squad forever. We learned that Mira and Garrick are being sent back to the front line, so they're being sent to Dratheus. So that's a little nerve-wracking that they're going to be on our front lines. And Xaden is basically still in his brooding mood from last fucking chapter, not speaking to us, which is rude. But
rude.
even with his scenario meetings, he needs to get over himself.
Yeah. Welcome back to Battle Brief.
Woo!
I literally felt like I was in class taking notes.
I'm just gonna leave the room. I'll be back in 15 minutes.
So, since they've been gone, the Venin have seized not only Saniva, but half of Krovla. Cordon still stands, but for how long? Violet's wondering. The number of civilian casualties is unknown, and at the borders, people are fleeing in every direction. Too many people, too fast, is causing major shortage in supplies in Dratheus. And Kat reminds everyone it's because the king won't let anyone in. Still.
Yeah.
Douchebag.
They literally are just in a fucking panic. They honestly don't know how to handle actual conflict because they never actually train any of these people for the actual enemy.
I know.
They were training them to fight griffins and flyers, which is not even the real enemy. They literally have set, and I know we've said this before, set our entire country up for failure.
Yep. And literally, they know who the real enemy is. They still do not want to work with Formil, which is just mind-blowing. You need numbers. You need the number no matter who it is.
Yeah. They are literally just like, okay, we'll do this one little thing and this one little thing, but it's not actually making any difference whatsoever.
Yeah. Devera announces that the Travelers, aka the Quest Squad, has secured an army of 40,000 with an alliance with Zelna. Devera believes it could help turn the tide of the war. They talk hypotheticals and where they would put the 40,000 soldiers. And this is where it's officially confirmed that Takaris is now king.
Crazy.
Because Queen Maria has passed.
Yes.
Crazy. So Dane thinks the army should be split half to the south to defend the new king and half to the western line. And Devera's like, all in Poromil? Very un-Navarian-like, but, Dane's a Rishan now, so he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and Dane is strategic, and I just feel like he sees outcomes pretty well. And he's very, I don't know, he's not rash. He doesn't make rash decisions.
No, well, he was a squad leader, and now he's a wing leader. So, leadership is not strange to him.
And
he's got pretty good ideas.
Yeah, I think he's very smart, and he is like, this is what makes the most sense. Like, our wards are still up. They don't have wards.
Yeah, literally. Not for long. So Dane says that's where they're needed. Period. Protecting Krovla prevents the Venin from entering Tyrandir and Elsum, and they have an alliance with Takaris to defend his kingdom, so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But Devera adds that she would split them in thirds and put them exactly where Dane says and at their outposts.
I don't agree with Devera. I usually agree with her all the time, but I don't understand why we would put any of that 40,000 army at these outposts. They're still behind wards for right now. And, if a retreat needs to happen, then a retreat will happen. But we have our infantry in the outposts. Like, we don't have them in Poromil. So, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So they discuss what happened in Saniva. A dozen wyvern and venin dropped out of the sky, which made their 50-foot wall obsolete, and started a fire in the textile district. They think that they were using wind-wielding venin, and they devoured the city. They sent a riot of 4, and only 1 rider and 2 dragons survived. There was an estimated 25,000 casualties. It only took 12 venin and wyvern. They were basically split up with 4 to hold the perimeter, 4 to concentrate on the barracks and armory, and 4 to fly directly to the palace. So they had it all planned out.
Yeah.
They have to dissect this attack no matter how personal it is for some of them, because some of them had family there. But, if they don't dissect it and learn how to prevent it, then they'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Geneva was the fourth largest city, and they can honor the dead by making sure it basically never happens again.
Yes, we should learn from our mistakes in the past. I
Absolutely.
think
Use history to our advantage.
I think a lot of people should be hearing that right now.
Indeed.
Indeed.
So they find out that there were 6 crates of freshly delivered alloy hilted daggers,
6
and the Venom took it all.
crates.
Crazy.
Insane.
That was the most that were ever at a post, because normally there are only 2 crates at each outpost, but Geneva was supposed to be a distribution site.
Mm.
Drifts were scheduled to transport them in the morning to other cities. So Violet thinks the only logical explanation, which I agree with her, is that the Venom knew about the shipment.
Yep.
And they definitely have traitors in their ranks,
Which
which Megan always says.
we
They're
always knew. They're
yep.
at the top.
They're at the top. Thunderstorms are common this year, and they believe the Venom flew in the storm to be undetected.
Mhm.
The cadets don't think that they did this because no one is stupid enough to fly in a storm when they can get struck by lightning. But Violet's like, hello, I can fly in a storm and control the lightning. And after
Mhm.
about 20 years of practice, so can Theophany at a much higher level.
Yes.
Theophany moved the horde through the storm, and Violet thinks this means that she's a maven.
Well,
And
we already kind of thought that she was definitely up there
yeah,
because
for
she's
sure.
super powerful. She's always everywhere.
I feel like we knew she was a maven. Was it Jack that told her that sometimes a maven in rare cases will take note of an initiate or
Mm,
something? I was like, yep, that's Theophany
yep.
for sure.
Yep. Yep. She's definitely up there. And
Yeah,
how insane though that she moved all of that horde through the fucking storm.
I know.
Scary.
How much power she has.
Mhm.
And it also makes me think, how fucking powerful is Violet going to be in 20 years?
If she's alive, pretty fucking
If she's alive.
powerful.
Yeah.
So Zayden is here. He comes
Hmm.
into the room when he's like, what were they after? What was being guarded? And Damara's like, this isn't how this works when you're a professor. And he's like, no, what was being guarded? And that's when we find out about the crates.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about Zayden being there.
Yeah.
And now he's a professor again.
Yes.
God damn it.
God damn it.
They still have sex, so I'm not mad.
Well, because he gets the boot.
Yeah, that's true. Devar asks who they should have sent to guard their most valuable targets with this kind of threat, and someone says water wielders to put out the fires. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then Caroline Ashton, of course, she comes up again, but she actually speaks the truth this time. She says Zayden, since he's the most powerful rider, so it wouldn't have even have happened if he was there.
Hmm.
But Rhee says, nah, Sorengale, because she could have taken out a chunk of the wyvern by striking the same cloud as long as they don't know Violet's there.
Mm-hmm.
But this gave me an idea. What if Endarda shared the ability to be camouflaged with her eventually when she comes back? Because at this point, I didn't know she was gone.
Yes.
But I still think this is possible.
Yeah.
But if they do know she's there, then she has to be the stronger of the 2 lightning wielders, which, of course, at this time, she's not. She just doesn't have the years
Yeah.
on her.
Yeah.
Jasenia gives Violet a package she took before General Asshole could open it, since apparently he opens all of her mail.
Yes, our little squad is meeting up with Jasenia because Violet has a secret that she's gonna spill.
And Riddick is making sure she's gonna fucking
He
spill
says,
it.
spill it or I will.
Yep. Violet and Riddick tell Rhee, Sawyer, and Jasenia that Zayden is slowly turning venom.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Rhea is like, talk.
Yeah. I feel like none of them were as pissed, or I guess we didn't really get a reaction.
We don't see the reaction. I think in the next chapter, she says they're rightfully, upset with her that she kept yet another secret from them. She's literally Zayden to them. Like
Yeah.
Zayden is to her.
Yeah, literally.
But no,
Call it karma.
they're still helping her out and doing research and things like that, but they are, rightfully upset that she didn't come to them right away.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along. Chapter 45. The epigraph is, I think I started falling for you the night in the tree when I watched you with the marked ones, and I began tumbling the day you gave me Taryn's saddle. You'll give some self-serving excuse, but the truth is, you're kinder than you want people to know. Maybe kinder than you know. Oh. And this is recovered correspondence of Cadet Violet Sorengale to His Grace Lieutenant Zayden Ryderson, 16th Duke of Tyrender. Love them.
Violet is having yet another nightmare with the sage. The sage is telling her to quit fighting. Violet is thinking that the sage is dead, and this isn't real.
Mhm.
Violet falls to the ground in her dream, and she can hear Indarna screaming. Violet can see Dratheus in the background.
The sage is telling her to submit and to go to them, accept where she belongs, and she'll find freedom like no other.
The sage tells her in the dream that he will let her help her this time. Pushing up his robes, you can see the sage's tanned arms.
Tanned arms.
The sage has tanned arms, which
Ooh.
I saw a crazy theory on
Wait,
this.
we know he has a tanned arm, don't we?
From before. It's just like being
What is
reiterated
your crazy
now.
theory? Tell me.
People think that the tanned sage's arm is Zayden's grandfather that died, Sigil's first
I
rider.
just got chills.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Hmm.
Do you think Sigel would know that though? And not tell Xaden?
Yes.
Just like Taryn knows about Naolin and one doesn't
Yes.
tell Violet?
Yes, I do.
That's good. That's a good theory. I like that
I
one.
know. I had to say just now.
The sage said if she doesn't come, then he has ways to make her heal. And right before she wakes up and screams, she sees silver hair and the sword of Tyrander rushing towards her chest. Another clue. It could be a Tyrander boy. A little
Maybe.
old grandpa.
Or is it Fen? I'm just kidding.
I feel like it can't be Fen because they would notice if they.
Yeah, it was a very public execution
Exactly,
as
yeah.
well.
By fire.
Yeah. Violet wakes with a start and she notices that Taryn and Indarna are still asleep, and so is Xaden after that nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Violet is thinking the sage is dead, but she isn't. Theophany was very real, and if she can get to Biscayeth, not only can she get to Violet, but she can also get to her friends too.
Mm-hmm. Violet is thankful that they understand Xaden isn't the enemy and Xaden is still fighting on their side. Violet wonders how long until Theophany goes after Xaden. Violet is thinking how the hell is she supposed to fight a dark wielder who has had decades to perfect her signet, and Violet still needs the conduit to control hers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even the end of March, so Violet hasn't even had her powers for a year yet.
That's
So if you
crazy.
really just like take into consideration this timeline and everything that's happened,
Crazy.
traumatizing.
Less than a year?
Yeah,
How?
literally, so much has
That's
happened.
crazy.
Xaden gave Violet a new nightgown with
Oh.
fabric that she had pointed out to him in Deverelli. Violet whispers down the bond that she loves him to stop brooding because she needs him.
Aw.
Violet thinks it's time to use some of his own techniques against him, so she reaches for a pen and paper.
Oh, darling. Kaori's fight lesson today is a dangerous one for our girl Violet. Running landing combined with wielding to defeat their opponent, and then a battle mount where they mount on their dragons and take back to the sky. Every second they remain on the ground, they risk their dragons' lives and their own. Of course, we know.
Xaden is here today in a professor capacity.
Oh.
Taryn gives us some sass when Violet says she wished he was a griffin so they could sit this exercise out. Taryn tells Violet he wished he sat out threshing 2 years ago.
Burn. Damn.
Violet asks Indarna if she wants to join them, and she tells them no because it's not like she can carry Violet. So there's no reason for her to be there.
Yeah.
And Indarna is still really not speaking to Violet or anyone since the Irids rejected her.
Yeah, she's in her feels. Poor girl.
Xaden tells the first years not to worry about wielding during this exercise because some of them have not manifested yet.
Or some have and aren't telling us.
Exactly.
We're reminded here of Bodhi's signet of countering signets, and I think this is for a reason here.
Bodhi executes his run perfectly, and Violet thinks that she will never be able to do this exercise, but Taryn tells her that she will. Violet tells Xaden she forgets how nearly perfect Bodhi is. Xaden tells her, of course he is, because he is related to Xaden.
Duh.
Violet says, yes, he is exactly like Xaden, just without the arrogance, so maybe she fell for the wrong ... She doesn't get to finish her thought because Xaden tells her it would be a shame if he had to kill his last living relative.
That's
Is this some
crazy.
foreshadowing?
Dude, that could be foreshadowing. But there's no
I
way she moves on unless he's dead, though. There's no way.
There's another foreshadowing to this when we get to Orisha, and I will point it out then.
Yes, please do.
Violet is worried she is going to break something, and she doesn't want Nolan to be touching her because ew.
Yeah, fuck him.
Violet tells Taryn maybe they can try this when they're in Orisha in a month, and Brennan would be there to mend her. But that's not going to happen.
No.
The rest of the squad start practicing, and either they complete it or lots of people break bones. It is a very bloody day.
Yeah.
And Darna is watching from the mountain, and when Violet acknowledges it, Darna takes off. And Taryn reminds Violet that Darna is still adjusting.
Yeah, I mean, she just got rejected by her whole dragon kind. She needs
But
to
just
admit it.
so sad, just thinking, like, watching her in the distance, like, looking down at everyone, just being so sad. I'm like, oh,
I know. We should have
hurts
picked up
my
on this
heart.
foreshadowing. But we didn't. We
Literally
didn't.
now.
The
Fuck.
blinders were on.
You know my blinders are always on. Violet asks Xaden if he is getting any sleep, and Xaden says he sleeps better when he's next to Violet. Violet is like, Professor or not, I'm sure you can find your way to my room.
Yeah, you know the way.
Yeah. Xaden tells Violet that he is still brooding and it is a full occupation at the moment. He needs to get over himself.
Yeah, he does.
Violet wants to see Xaden after class is over, and he does agree to this. Her squad does well, and even Violet does what Violet does best and improvises the move so that it works well for her body and Taryn. Xaden was panicked. I love how I think she was like, sorry, love, I have to be doing my work now. Time to shut you out.
Yeah.
But completing this, he is super impressed with her. And she's like, duh. Arik also did a fantastic job at this exercise.
He's just good at everything lately, huh?
Yeah.
A little Arik-y boy.
Violet meets with Xaden after class and gives him a letter, and she tells him to open that later, but she wants him to open the gift she got him now. She got him an onyx metal wrist cuff made from a piece of the turret from the top of Ryerson House.
That's so cute.
Violet says when things get shitty, he can remember them sitting there in Orisha looking down at the city. Violet wishes him a happy birthday.
Aww, happy birthday, Zaddy.
Xaden tells Violet that he loves her, but he is only going to get worse and that she should run. Here we go again.
I know. I feel like it is necessary to bring up, though, because it is inevitable. They can't get in over their heads and just forget it and then one day be devastated by it.
No, I know, but Violet knows, like, deep down, she does know, and I don't think that she needs to be constantly reminded.
Well, she's a little Delulu. She might need to be reminded a little more.
Then he should have just left a long time ago, except putting her through this for months and months and months.
I know, the longer it happens, the longer.
Like, she's holding on because he's still there.
Yeah.
Making her hold on.
Well, I mean,
and then telling her to run.
Could you imagine if he just dipped, though? She would be devastated.
Well.
And more Delulu and go after him.
Violet tells Xaden he should come and find her when he comes to the terms that she will never run from him.
Point proven.
Xaden reminds us that it has been 47 days since he last pulled Endeavorelli. He has a specific number in mind before he feels that it will indicate some sort of stability, not control.
Yeah. Felix came to Biscayeth and brings news and provincial affairs. 2 Wyvern came through the wards in Orisha 10 minutes closer than last week. The wards are failing, and Felix is here to instruct Violet since she refused to be instructed by Carr, which I understand.
Fair.
He almost fucking killed her.
Yeah.
Violet's like, you didn't have to come all this way. I'll be in Orisha next month. But Felix lets her know that they don't have a month.
Dun, dun,
dun.
We're building up here.
We're building up here, baby. Chapter 46, the epigraph is, when this is over, we should take as much leave as they'll give us and spend it all in Orisha. We can figure out what life is supposed to look like without the daily threat of death. You can govern the province you love during the day, then slide into bed with me at night. Or I can always join you in the assembly chamber. You do some of your best work on that throne. Ooh! Recovered correspondence of Cadet Violet Sorengale to His Grace, Lieutenant Zayden Ryerson, 16th Duke of Tyrender.
She is taking a page out of Zayden's book.
She really is. And she's spicy. I like it. Keep them coming.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 weeks later, Violet can barely lift her arms while their squad is walking back from Signet sparring. Violet hates when Carr is in rotation to teach that class, and Violet also feels like she has a permanent knot in the back from all of the work Felix has her doing as well. Every single second she's not in class, eating, or working out with Imogen, Felix has her on the mountaintop wielding. Her aim is improving and her strikes are increasing.
That's
So
good.
that's good.
Yeah.
Violet and Zayden talk every night through the bonds, but he is still brooding and refuses to spend any physical alone time with her.
Boo.
Boo.
The Western lines fall back and Dark Wielders surge towards Strathius at a fast pace. It'll only be a matter of weeks, and everyone knows it since Zayden is being called to Tyrender.
And now he's been fired
And
as a
now he's been
professor.
fired.
Zayden has been gone for 10 days now, and Violet has a stack of letters for him to read. Taryn is impossible to be around, and Indarna is just not around, period. Violet is contemplating marching down to the Vale and demand that Indarna speak with her.
Ugh, she should have. There's so much fucking foreshadowing. I'm so mad at myself for not seeing it.
I know. Imogen tells Violet that she did well today, though she thought Riddick might have taken Violet down at the last end of that class. And Riddick is like, I am so pleased with this praise.
He's like, Imogen saying something nice about me?
He's like,
She's
oh.
sick? No one, including Jacinia, has found anything to help Zayden at this point. And there's also growing resentment between Arishan and Navarian riders, again, over opening the borders. And the tension is real.
Well, makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, Riddick ruins the first moment of Imogen complimenting him by making a joke that Imogen has Garrick locked away in her room, and she tenses up and looks like she might now murder Riddick.
Don't murder him. We love him.
I have the biggest crush on him.
Megan would be more devastated than losing Injana at this point.
Yeah. We learn the third years are not leaving for patrols in the real world until they're at least done with their rotation in Eurasia.
Mm-hmm. The squad is leaving for Eurasia the next morning, second squad.
Yes, Rhee said that leadership will be Kaori, Felix, and Panchak. Violet is bummed to not hear Zayden's name.
Aww. Llewellyn is arguing with the Duke of Chaldeer and says he doesn't want to be part of a kingdom that leaves civilians to die. But the Duke of Chaldeer says that if they let them in, there will be no kingdom to serve. He says they've already weakened their outposts and now they want to overpopulate and starve the kingdom?
Zayden shows up and tells them to knock it off. I think it was enough.
Enough. Zayden says he will be taking in civilians within his border and told the Duke of Chaldeer as a courtesy, although he doesn't agree with him, obviously.
Yeah.
And neither does Halden, who shows back up and forbids it. But Zayden says they will take any civilian that climbs the Madero Pass, or else they would be condemning 30,000 people to die.
Yeah, Zayden tells Halden to pound sand.
Yeah. Halden threatens to bring his troops into Tyrender and tells Zayden that he has been warned. But Zayden's like, okay, and you've been informed.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to take out your biggest portion of your army, buddy.
You won't win.
Dummy.
Violet is shocked that Dratheus only has weeks, and she worries about Mira, because Mira and Garrick are there.
Mm-hmm.
Llewellyn does try to defend Zayden, but Zayden tells him it's not necessary. Zayden will be opening up his borders, like Amanda said, and Zayden's shadows are out. Ark is on Zayden's side, too, and Holden is pissed about that as well.
Of course he is.
Zayden tells Violet, even though they will be taking in civilians, it won't do them much good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zayden tells Violet about the dozens of Wyvern trying to fly into Eurasia and getting closer, and they only have about a month, so here's this month thing again.
Mm-hmm. Violet says the whole riot can stay in Eurasia when they go, and Rhiannon is in agreement. But Zayden says no, that there's one thing to taking cadets when it was a safe distance away from combat, but it's not safe if they become the front lines.
Yeah, very true.
And all of a sudden, shadows start coming up in an unfamiliar pattern.
What does this mean? This means that Lynx has manifested a signet. Shadow wielding. Wow. Zayden, though, he coaches him through channeling, but he tells Violet that magic knows. And Lynx is the balance. He is needed in Tyrande, so he's leaving, especially after that.
I was like, Amanda!
Dude, I'm telling you, he's not going to survive. How many episodes have I been saying that now? And you just like, put your hand on your forehead, but it's true.
Take it back.
I'll take it back for now, but I'm going to say I told you so when it happens.
I hate this book.
Violet asks Xaden what will happen to her when he turns. Will she have to turn? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Is it the only way to keep them and their dragons alive? That would be wild.
That is very interesting because it's so true. The whole big thing this whole time is like Violet needs to be protected because if Xaden dies, she dies. And then the dragons die and they need the dragons and they need Violet and they need Xaden. La 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 la. So if he fully turns, what happens to her?
Yeah, or does she not even know it and she's slowly turning because he turned? Yeah, I know.
Is that part of the prophecy that Mira's talking about with the priestess? And that's why Mira keeps looking in her eyes every 5 seconds?
Well, I think Mira thought that the prophecy was Violet turning, but I think
It can't just be Xaden turning Venom. That can't be the whole thing.
yeah.
Or they wouldn't even be bringing this up as a point right now.
No. Well, I think she's going to do it for Xaden no matter what, whether it's she doesn't know what's happening and just their bond, or she does it to save him, just like he did it to save her, if she turns Venom.
Yeah. Violet tells Xaden to stay or to meet her in Orisha. The man she loves stays. He fights. Xaden tells her that the man she loves no longer belongs to himself.
Very
Ah!
true. Llewellyn tells Violet that her purpose is as great as Xaden's, but separate arenas. And if that purpose makes it impossible for her to be what Tyrande needs, and she's like, Tyrande, not Xaden, he tells her they're one and the same. Tyrande is Xaden. Xaden equals Tyrande.
Yes. I think he was like, it goes Tyrande, Xaden, their relationship, and then Violet.
Yeah.
That's like the order of her priority. She's like,
Not
no.
in Xaden's mind, but in everybody
Yeah.
else's mind.
Yeah. So Violet asks Taryn to tell her if Xaden leaves, and Xaden does. He leaves Basquiat 2 hours later.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Chapter 47. The epigraph is, a dragon determines its last flight and its riders. Ooh. Article 1, Section 2 of the Dragon Riders Codex.
Well, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
No.
Not a fun one.
No.
Nice and short, but not fun.
Yeah. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts?
This literally could mean anything.
'Cause,
Like they get pissed off and just dump their rider. I don't know.
Or like when the dragon dies, it will obviously be its rider's last too.
That's true.
Like when it gets
Oh, you think
old.
the dragon's gonna die?
I don't know. Okay. Before anyone shows up to the flight field, Sawyer asks Violet to come with him before the rest of the squad arrives to see if he can get into his seat on his dragon.
Sawyer's learning to fly again with his cool go-go gadget leg.
Yay!
I love it.
I knew this was going to happen. I said he's going to
You
have a
did.
metal leg or something.
You did. You totally did. You called it. He's able to kick open a lever, almost like a claw, to climb up the back of his dragon.
Crazy.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, and after a few failed attempts and a heart-to-heart between Sawyer and his dragon that we were really not privy to, Sawyer makes a successful attempt at his seat. That scene was so
Yay.
emotional to me about how you feel about my leg, and like, I don't know, he's like, I would have done anything like to save you, and I was just like,
I know. So sad.
yeah.
Taryn is testy about speaking about his previous rider. I wonder why, because he knows about Nyolan and being alive and doesn't want to say anything?
Yeah, that.
But I find it interessante
Interessante!
that agonizing pain floods the bond at the mere mention of Nyolan. He's definitely Venom.
Yeah.
Why would he be so sad? Just because he died?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like Taryn is not like a normal dragon. I think we can see from other people's bonds that they have close relationships with their riders, but Taryn has done literally everything in his power to keep Violet alive and safe. And
Yeah.
so I feel like he just gets so invested. So if Naolan chose to become Venom and break his bond to Taryn, that would be like the biggest betrayal to him.
Yeah, or maybe he feels guilty that he couldn't get to him and Naolan had to do that or something,
Right.
and that's why he's so overprotective
Protective.
of Violet.
Yeah. But Taryn says changing his posture to help Violet does not dishonor him. It will take a great deal more to do that.
Indeed. Don't get him started on his lineage again.
I love when he starts rambling off his names.
Me too, and Violet's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Biggest and baddest of all time."
Yeah. Violet looks at Indarna after this moment and uses Indarna's words from the beginning of this book against Indarna. Violet tells Indarna that she can grieve, and when she is ready to talk, then Violet will be there for her. Indarna tells Violet that Violet doesn't talk about her grief, and neither does
Mm,
Taryn.
called
Violet
out.
tells Indarna that she is getting there and that Taryn is not perfect either, because Indarna still thinks that like Taryn is this like end all be all like most perfect dragon in the world.
Yeah, she wants to be like him, idolizes
And
him.
that's fine to do that, but Violet's like, you need a little bit of a reality check here. Taryn is
Yeah,
not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. Nobody is perfect.
right, exactly.
When Indarna shimmers into her purple black color, Violet sees this as progress.
Yay, progress.
When the rest of their squad arrives, they are all so happy to see Sawyer can fly, and Riddick is over the moon that he starts hugging literally everyone. Even Dana's like, okay. Rhiannon is worried that she failed Sawyer, and Violet tells her, no, this is not the case. They just
Mhm.
want to do Rhiannon proud because there's a
Yeah,
difference between being Rhiannon's friends and then Rhiannon being their squad leader.
yeah. There has to be some kind of separation in that
Yeah,
when you're a leader.
yeah.
A good leader, anyway.
Hmm.
Bodhi and Dane are joining them on their trip to Arisha for Rune's class since they didn't get to go because of their duty schedules and the failed quest mission. So they're just joining Violet's squad here.
Okay, this is the first other one.
Ooh.
Violet notes that when Bodhi smiled, he looked so much like Xaden that her rib cage drew tight.
Hmm.
And there's another part.
R.I.P. Zayden.
Stop!
Zayden.
I'm gonna hang up.
Maybe not dead, but like I'm gonna hang up. Maybe not dead, but like full venom. No emotion, no care. Like breaks Violet's heart.
Yeah.
If he's not gonna fully die, he's gonna die inside.
Okay.
His soul will die.
His soul is dying.
Yeah, I know. So they land in Arisha, but Violet knows that Xaden isn't there, which means neither is Sigale. So this trip's gonna suck for both her and Taryn.
Yep.
Kaori also joins the mission and gets a little too close to Indarna and she snaps at him.
Mhm.
Indarna is never going to let him study her, even here in Arisha.
Nope. Never
Nope.
gonna happen.
Never. Get it out of your system. It is hot in Arisha, and Ree mentions it's because it's a hatching ground. But I don't like this. That means there's lots of power, wards are falling. Do we even have a month at this point?
I forgot that there's dragons still there that didn't go back.
I know. But honestly, after I read that, I knew they were going to get attacked. Like, I knew there was no way a month was even going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Violet points out that it does seem empty in Arisha, but maybe that's just because there's no cadets crammed in the halls.
Mm-hmm.
Ree gives them the night off, but they have formation at 7 a.m. tomorrow sharp, so no bars for these cadets tonight.
Bodhi tells Violet that Dane and him are here with this squad because they're the best squad.
Woohoo!
And
Iron Squad.
And here's my other foreshadowing of Bodhi and Violet.
Tell me.
When Violet looks confused about the room to sleep in, she doesn't really have one here. Bodhi tells her to stop being ridiculous. Sleep in her room with Xaden. Sleep in their bed. Xaden will brood more if she doesn't. Okay, here we go. They are home and they should act like it.
Oh.
I get it's really
Xaden's place right now.
So like if Violet like this is Xaden's home, like it's Violet's home and they share this bedroom. But like he's like walking back down the hall, like watching her, saying like they're home, like we need to act like it. And I think it is gonna be their home.
Whoa.
This isn't a crack track theory. This is a real theory.
R.I.P. Xaden.
I'm hanging up.
Megan's gonna punch me through the fucking
It's a
camera.
good thing we don't record in person yet.
Give me a little Helga punch. For all you 90s kids.
Yes. When Violet gets into the room, she notices how much of her is still in this room. She did make a home for herself here.
Yeah.
Then there is a knock on her door, and Brennan is there and asks him to pull him into the room. Brennan tells Violet that Xaden fucked with the wards the last time Xaden was home, and Violet's like, of course he did.
Of course.
Brennan is also shook that Violet doesn't need any mending. Every time she shows up here, she always needs mending. And then in other shocking news,
Yes, we find out here that Brennan actually tried to mend Xaden. He tried every single day while Xaden was in Orisha last week. So Brennan knows, and Violet is just happy Xaden hasn't given up yet.
yeah, Brennan knows that Xaden is Venom.
Wild.
Crazy.
They've actually tried a lot of things: silent offerings in every temple, pushing magic back into the earth, even sitting with the eggs in the hatching ground. But this made me think, oh no, hopefully they can't fucking track Xaden because he's an initiate and now they know where the hatching grounds are.
Right.
Fuck. But he wants to try to mend the spot at Biscayath next.
Our boy hasn't given up.
No, they're
I
still trying.
I love that even though he can't do this stuff with Violet, that he's still doing it with Brennan, which is Violet's brother. So
I
therefore, it's
know.
all still in the family.
Yeah, and I feel like he doesn't want to get Violet's hopes up, which is why he just smacks her with reality every single time. Because until he has something good to say, he doesn't want to get her hopes up.
Yeah, he's not just smacking Violet with reality, he's also smacking me.
Yes, Megan is getting smacked.
Every time I'm like,
I'm realistic here.
I'm literally delusional.
Not as bad as Violet, though.
Yeah, because I'm like, in the meantime, I'm already planning Bodhi and Violet in my head.
Yeah. And you love Riddick. You love other people now, too, not just Satan.
Yeah, I love Riddick.
Chapter 48, the epigraph is 472 AU, Willhaven, Breivik. With the exception of one house, the village was desiccated overnight by a single venom estimated to be a sage. The only adult amongst the three survivors described her as astonishingly ageless. Hair as black as the day we married, but in place of the age lines I'd expected were bulging scarlet veins branching outward from her red ringed eyes. And this is from The Resurgence of Evil, a Timeline by Pearson Hallowell.
They need like Venom Botox.
It is weird that her hair is black, though.
Mm.
Maybe this is not a Dune worshiper gone bad turned Venom. This is like a actual pull from the earth, regular turned Venom.
She needs Venom Botox because like she doesn't have age lines, but she has bulging scarlet veins. She needs to take care of that.
Yeah. I don't think you can. I think once your soul is given up, things
Red
except for veins.
And your gorgeous ageless hair.
Indeed.
There is a thunderstorm happening tonight, and I was like, uh-oh. A
Uh-oh.
thunderstorm. And Violet is in her room.
It's not Violet at this point.
Yeah.
So in Rune's class in Orisha, everyone is mastering them except Violet. Even Auric, who hasn't manifested a signet yet.
Oh, has
He
he?
definitely has.
Yes.
But even he's mastering them. Violet can't figure it out.
Yeah.
So Violet's reading a book from Takaris. She's like, I gotta give this a break and do something else. And she recognizes a pattern in one of the books. And she's thinking, that makes 3. But she doesn't elaborate on this, which annoyed me. I'm like, what makes 3?
I know. I reread that paragraph or sentence like multiple times. So I was like, fuck you.
What did I miss? But I'm like, okay, I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Felix graduated the alloy in Violet's conduit to one that's the same size as in the daggers. So she started imbuing them for her lesson tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
Multitasker here.
Yeah. She's like, if I don't do this, then he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
There's a knock on the Violet's door, and it's
Yay!
He is soaked from flying in the rain. They are immediately all over each other, and he really likes seeing Violet in the nightgown he had made for her.
Oh, so perfect that she had it on.
Yes.
76 is Xaden's magic number because it's twice the longest stretch that Barlow went without draining after his first signet channeling. the cliff incident.
Hmm.
I feel like that's a good estimate, though.
Yeah.
Zeta needs Violet to give her the one thing that she loves breaking: control.
She asks if Zayden wants to take the serum, but he says no and thinks Sigale would have killed him anyways if he did
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
There will be no more waiting because this may be as good as it ever gets.
Oh, the last sex scene before.
Yeah, I think this is.
No, I'm
I
just
think this.
kidding.
No, I do. I think it's the last one ever.
The last one ever? Maybe we'll get one with Bodhi in the future. Since I killed the Garrett Crackjack.
You did.
But you think Bodhi of all people would do that to Zayden? He's definitely gotta be gone.
I
He's gotta
think.
be gone
I
and like
think
in the ground.
Bodhi is already in love with Violet. Yep, I think he would.
Wow. I guess we'll see.
Just the way he like pushes back at Zayden. He's not like he's loyal to Zayden, but he pushes back at him way more than Garrick would or anybody else would.
Yeah. But do you think that's because they're family? I feel like family really gives you the nudge when you need it versus like a friend.
I guess.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Chapter 49, the epigraph is: while most deities allow temple attendants to choose their timeline of service, only two require a lifetime of dedication: Dune and Loyal. For both war and love changes souls irrevocably. Interessante. And this is from Major Royalty's Guide to Appeasing the Gods, the second edition.
Violet Zayden have dirty sex!
Yeah, this is like the scene
It's
of the
like
whole book, pretty
pages
much.
and pages of dirty sex. Also, I want to know how he was doing that chair where she was like bent over and like he was behind her. And I was like, how logistically is this working?
I want to know too.
And then she was straddling him.
Tell us more,
She
Megan. I
set
don't
things
remember.
on fire. What do you
She's
mean?
like wielding. He's not even pulling nothing, so that's good.
I was drooling.
Yeah, that was a good chapter.
It was
A
so
page turner.
good. I was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes. I'm like, I need a minute.
Yeah. Right? I gotta go cool off, take a cold
I
shower.
was like, oh my God. I'm like, Poppy, close your eyes.
When they're finished and satisfied, Violet tells him that there's not one mark in sight, not even one fingerprint. Zayden is stable, but only for now.
I'm so glad he didn't pull during the scene. I thought for sure he was going to, and I was like, fuck, this is ruined forever.
But do you think he maybe pulled from Violet through her bond? Do you think that's possible? And that's how she turns Venom slowly with him? If he can pull through the bond without knowing and there's no fingerprints.
Yeah, but we would have known beforehand. Wouldn't his eyes be like super red if he pulled?
That's true. If he pulled, then his eyes would get red. Yeah. All right. So he's safe for now. He's safe.
Yeah, Poppy's
Do
literally
we have
rubbing against me right now. She's like, did you call me?
Yeah, she's like, Mom, I heard my name.
Yeah, she's like, I'm here. Put me on the podcast.
So funny. Chapter 50. The epigraph is: Your Majesty, Tyrande hereby officially declines your request for a provincial commitment of troops for our current conflict. Having resigned my professorship at Biscayth War College, I am now in rightful command of all Tyrish citizens in military services. And this is the official correspondent of His Grace, Lieutenant Zayden Ryerson, 16th Duke of Tyrande, to His Majesty, King Tori the Wise.
Ooh, kick some
Ooh.
ass. So we are starting this chapter off in Zayden's perspective, and we're viewing his nightmare now.
The sage says in the dream, "You are ours. You will bring what I want or she dies. I'm through waiting and I will not allow her to win such a prize."
Mm-hmm.
So I think here he's talking about obviously Violet, bringing Violet to him, and he's like, Theophany will not win.
Right.
So I feel like it's the other, what was her name? It was like Berwin or something.
Yeah, I
I
don't
can't
remember.
remember.
There's something with a B.
Yeah, it was something like that, but I think that's who this is. So they're like fighting. The Mavens are like fighting over who's who,
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna train who.
Yeah, crazy. Zayden is not going to bring her, and when he flexes his fingers to pull, his hands don't look like his own. The sage tells Zayden that the city will fall and Zayden will be next. Zayden sees the sword of Tyrande at his throat before he is pulled from his sleep.
Whose hands is it?
I know. Violet also jolts awake and reassures herself that she is still here, and so is Xaden. Xaden wants to know, though, why Violet is so clammy.
So Violet tells Aiden that she has a reoccurring nightmare as well. She tells him about Indarna's scream and the sage levitating her and how she sees Dratheus. Then she says her hand wasn't her hand, and Xaden was like, "Yep, it was mine. You were in my dream."
What?
Wild. So Violet goes on to tell him every dream she can remember with the sage, and Xaden has also had them all. So she's
Mm-hmm.
been in his fucking dreams this whole time.
Yep.
And she always wakes up with the feeling that someone was there with her, and he fucking was, because you were in her dream, bitch. You were in his dream. I mean,
Yeah.
crazy. Xaden says the sage wants him to bring Violet to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out that Violet is a dreamwalker, and it's her second signet from Indarna. It makes sense since her kind is peaceful and the ability itself is passive, but it is more dangerous than lightning. It's a
Mm-hmm.
form of intrinsic. She doesn't read minds, but she walks straight into their unconscious minds.
Yeah. Violet had walked straight into Xaden's dream, mid-dream.
Yeah, and she didn't even know she was doing it.
Yeah. Xaden wants to know if she's ever done this before, and she thinks and believes she did when she was sent to Samara and she dreamed walked into Marin's dream.
Yeah, so this is like her proof because she's like, okay, well, if it's only Zayden, then there's not really,
Mm-mm.
can't really test it out. But she didn't even know she was like training it with Zayden the whole time, that she was strong enough in Samara to even do it to Marin.
Yeah.
So crazy. Signets are based on what they need most. So she's confused and doesn't want or need to know anyone else's dreams. The only time she ever wanted to know somebody's dreams was when Indarna was in her deep sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But this actually makes sense to her because she can't use it on dragons, and she unknowingly developed the signet on Xaden.
Mm-hmm. And Darda confirms Violet is in fact a dreamwalker and that she needed to figure it out for herself, just like Taryn did not tell Violet when she wielded lightning for the first time.
I believe I said this exact quote
Yeah.
when we asked why Indarna has not said anything to Violet yet.
You did,
She
yeah.
did the same fucking thing about what was it about?
Knowing that she was the seventh
Yeah,
den.
the knowing that she was a seventh den, yeah. Xaden mentions that it is more dangerous than his signet because no one can shield while unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
He says they will snap her neck and call it self-defense if anybody finds out.
Yeah. If she trains this, he's like, you could walk into Mel Green's dreams, you could walk into anybody's dreams because their defenses and shields are down and people are dreaming about like what they're most scared of, what they're worried about is going to happen.
Yeah. Like your unconscious mind can't block out stuff like your conscious mind can.
Right.
But also, I feel like she can develop this more and actually walk into minds no matter what and break any shield no matter what. I feel like eventually they're not going to have to be unconscious.
They want to test this out. They're like, let's just go and see. So they go to Marin's room and they ask her about the nightmare and she confirms it. She's like, yeah, that's exactly what my dream is about. How do you know this?
Yeah.
So Violet, it is confirmed. Violet is a dreamwalker, which was kind of, I mean, it's cool, but also like very underwhelming at the same time.
Yeah. And I feel like Rebecca did say it was going to be underwhelming, but I feel like it's a trick. Like she's got to be more intrinsic. I feel like anyone that's part intrinsic actually becomes full intrinsic when they grow their ability so much or experience it for years and years.
Yeah.
So we'll see if she remains only a dreamwalker.
Well, I think Rebecca Yarros in an interview said we've only seen 10% of what Violet is going to be
Yeah.
capable of with this second signet. So I think you're exactly right. I think she is going to be able to, like when she was in Zayden's mind, when they
Yeah.
were fooling around, I think
Yeah.
his inhibitions were low because he was so focused on pleasuring Violet and he was in pleasure. So like his shields weren't fully intact and she just whoop
Mhm.
slipped right in.
Yeah, she walked right into his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like the longer that she is this, well, she can't really do this anymore, can she? With Indarna being gone, we don't even
We
know.
don't know.
So we'll have to see. But I feel like it's definitely going to develop either way.
Yeah.
They go to Marin's room and they ask her about this, but what the fuck do they tell Marin as an explanation of why they even need this? Because now does she know that she's a dreamwalker?
No.
Because I'm like, they just said they'll kill you if you tell anybody, and then they just randomly go and ask Marin about her dream, and she's just like, yeah, that was my dream.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
bye."
I
Like,
think it's well, I think everything just got distracted because the horde was coming,
that's
so
true,
I don't
that's
think
true.
Marin had, like, a second to, like, really be like, "Why are you at my door in the middle of the
Yeah,
night?"
that's true. Okay, okay, I'll take it, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Before Marin can react, a horde approaches from the east, and they are under attack. Dun, dun, dun. We did not
Dun, dun,
have
dun.
a month, as predicted. Chapter 51. The epigraph is for maximum potential, riders should be stationed close to their villages if possible. Nothing is a more effective motivator than seeing one's home on fire. And this is Tactics, Part 2, a personal memoir by Lieutenant Lyron Panchak. This makes sense to me, honestly. I feel like I would defend where my family is more than random people, so
True,
I get
true.
it.
But still, whoa.
Still a little traumatizing, but you know.
Yeah.
A few dozen wyvern were 20 minutes out, maybe even less. It was hard to tell with the weather, and neither of Zayden's army's generals are present at the time.
Mhm.
Zayden gives orders to Felix to keep the first years safe, especially Arik. He sends infantry to their posts to take out any wyvern they drive to the ground, and riders gotta run faster.
Mhm. Violet tells Indarna to guard the ward stone.
She's like, I'm on it. Brennan has thoughts too. He says the wards are still up, or they would feel it. He says they are probably flying in small batches to test their barriers. He says to
Mhm.
station the officers 2 to 5 miles east, assign the older riders to the gates, and the cadets to guard the wardstone as a last resort. But Violet says she is their best weapon, and if they won't put her on the front lines, they have to put her at the gate. And Brennan fights this, but Zayden tells him that she's right.
Yeah,
She's always right.
unfortunately, Violet is right.
Yeah. Zayden says to split the retired riders, half to the wardstone and half to the city to help civilians, and Violet is assigned to the wall. Ree says we'll all go, and Zayden doesn't stop them, only if they are willing. And Dane says we are all willing.
Mhm.
Dane gives his orders to work in pairs.
Mhm.
Zayden makes Bodhi stay behind because he is first in line for the throne in Tyrande.
It's a tough interaction, but Zayden just got Tyrander back and he doesn't want to give it up because Bodhi is being stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
But Bodhi tells Zayden no, they will lose it because of Zayden's stubbornness and
Uh-oh.
ego.
Here comes a feud.
Yep.
We got a motive now.
Yeah. The Zayden tells Violet not to die protecting his city. He loves her more than he loves Arisha. She basically tells him the same. She
Mhm.
tells Zayden to stay out of the clouds, off the ice, and come back to her hole. Taryn tells Violet not to worry about Zayden. He will be fine no matter what side wins the battle. Ouch.
Ooh, that was a burn.
Hmm.
Arik is like, you have to protect Dune. That's how you save Tyrander. How the fuck does he know that? Even though Violet's like, no, not gonna happen.
I think
He's intrinsic.
he's like another form of intrinsic. Like I feel like Melgreen is I feel like kind of intrinsic too because he can like see the future of like battle outcomes. And I
True.
think that maybe he's like their generation of Melgreen.
Does that mean Melgreen's Venin?
I just got full body
Me
chills.
too. When you were saying that, I was like, dude,
I didn't
if
even think
Arik has
that.
the same fucking signet, just like Link's.
He's the balance.
Yeah.
I have chills.
I have chills too. Holy shit.
And I think that's why he just hasn't said it yet. One, because I don't think they would kill King Tori's son, but who
No.
knows? But he also doesn't like the limelight. He doesn't want to be in a leadership position, and this is shooting him straight to the top, if
Yeah.
that's his signet.
Yep. 100%.
I wonder if we find out in this book, like, what his signet
I
is.
fucking hope so. Because if
Yeah.
I have to wait 6 years to find out, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Violet flies with Taryn and strikes lightning so that they can see where the wyvern are in the dark. There are
Mhm.
dozens all over the place, and there are no such formation. Brennan was right. Violet strikes again, and she sees 4 pairs of wyvern flying in their direction. Taryn tells Violet to drop her conduit, and she strikes again.
Mhm.
Violet asks Indarna if she made it to the wardstone, and she says it's well protected, don't you worry.
Mhm.
Taryn collides with the wyvern, blending into the night, which I thought was actually crazy. I'm like, what did
Yeah.
he bang into? But it's a fucking wyvern.
Wyvern.
They break another one's neck and almost makes Violet vomit
Yeah, they're
during
like
this whole thing.
spinning around, and Violet's like, never again. And Taryn's like,
Yeah.
but it was effective. She's like, never again.
I couldn't do the spinning either. As soon as it started spinning, I'd be fucked.
No, I'm like, bleh.
Literally.
Literally vomiting on the wyvern.
Yeah. Taryn confirms the wyverns have not reached the wards, but they will continue to test their boundaries and send waves.
Mhm.
Violet tried to reach for Zayden, but is basically burned by the wall of onyx ice. Taryn says Sigale copes.
Which I thought that meant that he pulled,
Me
but
too.
he didn't when we see him later on in this
Yeah.
chapter. So
So
I
maybe
don't
it just
know.
means he's like closed off, like his shields.
Yeah, maybe he's like teetering on the edge, and that's why I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Like maybe if Violet can't reach him, then Sigale can't reach him either. So she's like, whatever at this point.
Yeah.
So Violet notices 4 wyvern on the ground going for Indarna, and Violet and Taryn speed over and she strikes lightning, hitting the lead pair as they burst into flames. One of the last 2 has Silverhair Rider on it, and Taryn bellows in pain.
Yeah, of course. And Darna is not where she's supposed to be. She's standing in front of the Temple of Dune. I
Interessante. How
can
did we
just like
know that,
imagine her
Arik?
sitting here like, haha, look where I am. I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, literally. Chapter 52, the epigraph is dedicating oneself to temple work isn't just a noble pursuit. Becoming high priest or priestess is the closest most of us will get to touching the power of the gods. The rest are riders. And this is from Major Rorley's Guide to Appeasing the Gods, the second edition.
Mm-hmm.
Interessante. Taryn gets wounded and Violet nearly reaches burnout. Thunder booms to the east, and it's not Violet's.
Nope.
Uh-oh. And Darna says that the prince says to protect Dune's temple.
Mm-hmm. Taryn tells Violet, though, when they get on the ground, to cut her power, even with Theophany around, because she is reaching her burnout. Xaden yells, Violet! Piercing her shields like they aren't even in place,
Ooh.
yelling her name. Violet tells Xaden she is fine to stay into control and not get distracted. Xaden tells Violet to get Taryn back through the wards as soon as possible, because obviously Sigale can feel that Taryn is injured and is probably freaking out.
Yeah, wait, I just had a thought too. Do you think they have to protect the Temple of Dune because Theophany is coming? Because she's like the reject or something? So maybe they think she's just going to go and destroy it?
I think, like, by protecting the temple, it showed Leothan that they are capable of just destroying things. And that's why he, like, powers up their wards. I'm guessing because Arik said that's how you save Tyrande is by protecting the temple. And that's where, obviously, we'll see that Leothan
True.
is there.
Yeah.
Violet wants to know why Indarna is there. And like you said earlier, Indarna said, well, Arik said to guard the temple, so that's why she's there. Violet's like, well, I denied the request. And Darna's like, you don't deny a prince. And Indarna is an extension of Violet. Is Indarna not everything Violet wanted her to be? Fierce, courageous. What is she supposed to do? Sharpen her claws on the scales of her enemy? Taryn tells Indarna that her temper tantrum is ill-timed. He's like,
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
literally have a thing protruding from my side. Cut the shit.
Literally. Ree gets the wing spur out of Taryn's leg using her signet, and it's actually the biggest item she's ever retrieved. So just shows how powerful these fucking riders are getting. And it hasn't even been a goddamn year yet.
Yep.
Wyvern approach them with more in the distance. Violet yells at the temple attendants to get inside, but they're like, hell no, we're not all getting burned to death by fire. She can't abandon them and leave them defenseless, and they won't even agree to take cover. So she's
Yep.
like, fuck, we gotta stay and defend them.
Yeah.
So the high priestess asks Violet if she uses ley and juice of the mensawa flower on her hair like they do. And she says, no, it just grows like this.
She also says to Violet, you journeyed far to come to our aid, which, like, from Basquiat? Like, does she mean somewhere else?
Maybe she means Biscayeth because they might not have known that they came to Orisha.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Either Dune protects us or we meet Malik as her worthy servants. When Violet says Dune isn't going to appear, the priestess is like, Avi, she sent you.
Interessante.
Mm-hmm.
Is Arik God? Is Arik Dune?
Is Arik Malik?
That would be wild. Theophany appears and tells Violet that if she lifts a blade or a hand to wield, she will kill them all. But if Violet goes with her, then she will live. She will let the rest live. So she's
Mhm.
basically threatening her with her friends at this point.
Yeah.
The high priestess calls Theophany a heretic and tells her she is not welcome there. So
Nope.
Theophany was a high priestess before. I feel like this kind of confirms it for us.
Yeah.
Not only does she have the tattoo on her forehead, but her hair matches the attendants on Umbriel, which also matches Violet's.
Interessante.
Indeed, baby. Two more Venons show up with her, but the Irids also show up, and as soon as Theophany realizes who they are, she vanishes with the rest
Mhm.
of her little Venon buddies. Just like Garrick, Violet
Yeah.
notices. So maybe she has multiple signet powers.
Yeah, I think when I was rereading it, it isn't Theophany who does it in the scene, though we think she did it at the beginning of Onyx Storm, but one
True.
of the
She's like
other
holding.
Venom
Yeah,
did it,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, they're holding hands or whatever. And
And then, like, one of the other ones, like, stepped.
yeah. So they really are all gonna meet their fucking match one
Yeah.
day. It's
Yep.
crazy. So Theophany obviously was petrified of the Irid, which
Mhm.
is interesting. Violet strikes lightning and kills a wyvern, but notices that the others start to fall too. And
Mhm.
chaos ensues as the wyvern drop from the sky and the attendants scatter.
Mhm.
Zayden shows up to stop a pillar's shattered pieces suspended in midair so they can't hurt anyone. Sigale flew to them when she realized Taryn was injured, and he tells Violet that the wards are up. Leothin, the Irid, says that it seemed necessary to fire their ward stone. We have a full force of wards in Arisha now.
Yeah, I know. Thank God, like, it only needed him to, like, blow fire on it, and
Yeah,
it like, they didn't have to, like, redo the whole
redo all
fucking
of them.
ceremony again.
Yeah, thank God that the other fucking
Because
dragons
there would have
tried.
been no other black dragon to do it.
True.
I mean, there's baby ones because we,
Yeah,
at
we
the
know
beginning
that
of
some have
Iron Flame,
hatched.
they
Yeah.
said some have hatched, but they're not, like, grown yet.
No.
All
All
right,
right.
this is where I leave. I'm taking my headset off. I'm not
Megan
saying
is
a
going to be physically here, but not mentally or emotionally.
I refuse to say anything.
Well, maybe a little
Okay. All right, fine.
for me.
Okay. Okay.
Chapter 53, the epigraph is Asher returned today. Gods help us if anyone finds out. I'm not sure I'll ever forgive him for what he's done to her. And this is from the journal of Captain Lilith Soaringale. But also, is this the journal that fucking Mira's reading and
Yes.
Violet's reading? So
Yes.
Violet knows this.
Yes. Or
What is she
maybe
just
she
like
didn't.
have her fucking blinders on like us?
Yes.
I guess so. Delulu in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Violet thanks Leothin for securing the wards in Arisha, but of course he didn't do it for her. He did it for Indarna. He
Mhm.
connects to everyone around them so even Ree can hear the conversation. He says her human, aka Violet, is just as dangerous as they feared. He goes on about Indarna's behavior and actions, and Sigale ends up jumping in, defending Indarna, saying she is a credit to their riot. Leothin says she is not a credit in the ways that Irids value, but he thinks her motives are honorable. So he's not
Mhm.
all annoyed at her.
Yeah.
Leothin cuts everyone else out of the convo and just includes Indarna and Violet in the rest of the discussion. Even Taryn is blocked out since Leothin's shields are stronger than his. And Violet says it's oddly similar to the serum effects, which I think is interessante.
Literally so crazy how powerful one ear it is.
One Irid, yeah.
Because we
Well,
don't
we don't know
even
how old he is, though.
but we also don't know how many Irids are there. I know it says the Irids are here, but we only see Leothin. But just, I think Theophany just saw Leothin and freaked out. So she was scared of one Irid because obviously Indarna is there, but she's not trained.
Right. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
Leothin offers Indarna a chance to learn their ways, but he's not staying here. He wants to take her with him. He says it could take a few years, but the others will accept his decision by then, and she will have learned enough to know her truth. Leothin says he saved Violet by firing the Wardstone, and she will still have Taryn to keep her safe from the humans within. And Darna tries to explain that they are bonded, but he's like, it's just a magical tie. Break it as you see fit. I don't like that. Leothin asks Violet who bonded her first, meaning who spoke to her first. And he says that humans should only be capable of bonding a single dragon. And then Darna is actually the one who forged the second one, only because she is Irid. No other dragon can do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Darna's instincts are excellent, but she needs instruction. He tells her to break the connection and go with her. and she wants to go. Why, Indarna? Why? Leothin says, should she choose to return, she can reforge the bond. He's like, you can always, reforge it later. Come for a couple years, which is scary because it hasn't even been like 2 fucking years in our story. So are we ever going to see her again? Who knows? Crazy. But Indarna says she doesn't know how, but Leothin, I believe, breaks the bond for them. It's not really clear here, but I think because she's like, I don't know how, and it's just like done. So I think he does it for her.
Yeah.
And Violet reached for the bond, but there was just a wall and then nothing. Leothin launches into the sky and Darna roars at him, but then fucking follows him. She's literally gone. But I'm going to be the realistic one here and say we need her to learn how to be an Irid, and I'm going to just pray that it's faster than a couple years. Or maybe she gets rejected by the rest of the Irids and then comes back. But I feel like she needs to learn. It's going to be helpful, especially because the Venin ran like that. The Maven of the Venin ran like that from an Irid. She's got to learn.
No,
So it sucks. And I feel like Violet's going to also come to this conclusion eventually, even though she's really depressed in the next chapter. But
I'm in full
we're going to be
blown
okay.
depression.
I know. Megan cried all night. Poor thing.
I cried for hours.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't hours. But let me just live in my depression, okay?
Okay, I'll try. But Mia, I gotta be the positive one. Always think about the positives. She's gonna learn, and we're gonna defeat the Venin eventually.
Okay.
Maybe she'll even learn a cure for Zayden.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Okay.
I feel like it's gonna be too late for him, but maybe not too late for
You're
Violet.
supposed to be making me feel better.
That's definitely why she comes back. Violet turns Venin, she has to save Violet, and she'll know because she's an Irid and she knows everything.
Okay.
Okay, moving on before we make Megan upset here. Chapter 54. The epigraph is, no rider has ever survived the loss of their dragon. I can't imagine wanting to. And this is from Colonel Kaori's Field Guide to Dragonkind.
Arisha is safe and everyone is celebrating, yet Violet can't get out of her bed. She sleeps, but she doesn't dream anymore. When Violet hasn't got out of bed for days, you have to bring in the big guns, aka Mira.
Yep.
Brennan couldn't get her out of bed. The squad couldn't get her out of bed. Zayden couldn't get out of her bed.
That's crazy.
But Mira is straight to business.
Yep.
Mira asks Violet how she replaced the power she lost, but she didn't.
Yeah.
She forces Violet to get out of bed and tells her she needs to take a bath.
Yeah. Mira yells at Brennan that the deficit of power has to be intense, on top of the emotional impact of also losing a dragon. So she's in her feels.
But I don't think she has lost Indarna's power.
No, I think it's more of the emotional hit.
Yeah.
But I also don't know how far Indarna is. Is she going to be able to still channel? Maybe it works more because she's Irid and can do anything, literally.
Yeah.
But
Mira immediately is like, see, she's already speaking and I've been here for 5 seconds.
Yeah. She's like, I am the winner. You all suck.
Yeah.
Violet thinks she knows why riders die when their dragons do. It's not just the loss of power, but in the moment, you don't know who you are, where you belong, or why you even breathe.
Oh, so she does feel the loss of power. Okay.
Taryn grounded her, thank God, or she would have willingly floated away. Violet can't comprehend the enormity of her absence. She doesn't know if she will ever get past this.
But I love how Taryn gives her literally an open door to him so that she feels like a teeny bit better, I guess. Even hearing him talk to Sigale and other things he's doing, she has full access to him. Yeah. And it probably makes him feel better too, because she's just been in this bed for days, that he has this open tie to her at the moment.
I agree. And I also think this confirms that she can survive with one of them dying.
Yeah.
Even if it's, well, maybe not, because Taryn was technically her first.
Yeah.
So maybe not, but I don't know. I feel like it does, which is kind of scary. I would rather Zayden die, no offense, than Taryn, but we'll see.
Zayden arrives and is thankful to see her awake and up and speaking. And Zayden helps Violet take a bath because he's like, girl, I love you, but you smell.
Yeah. He's like, I want to touch you, but you stinky.
Yeah.
Mira and Brennan are in the middle of a fight, and she mentions that her mom stopped journaling for a few months. Violet jumps in here and says there are months missing in their father's book as well, from the same time period. Mira reminds Brennan that it's from the summer that her and Brennan had to stay with their grandma. But Violet was too little to stay. And when they returned, their grandma stopped speaking to their parents. So,
Mhm.
what the fuck did they do to Violet? Mira thinks that they took Violet to be dedicated to Dune. She explains by saying the priestess started the process, then told mom and dad that they only accepted children whose futures are certain, and Violet had paths to choose from. Violet recalls the priestess asking her if she chose this path herself.
Mhm.
According to Mira, the priestess says if Violet chose her future poorly, she could still earn their mentorship, but she'd turn Venin.
Yeah, so she still has a choice to choose their mentorship, but the priestesses think she turned Venin before she ever chose to dedicate herself to Dune. Which I agree. I think she is more likely to turn Venin than she is to become a priestess.
Yeah, no, I agree too. Violet agrees with Mira and thinks that they took her to Umbriel, which explains why her hair is like theirs and Theophanie's. And
Mhm.
Brennan tells Violet that their dad thought she was perfect, and their father told him their parents used to dedicate their infants to a particular deity's service when they thought the touch of God would help that child. So I think because she had this muscle issue with her joints always popping out and stuff, he was like, let's go dedicate her and maybe it will save her. Like the touch of God would help her.
But this is what I wanted to ask. Did this priestess that talked to the dad of why he went to dedicate her tell her of this vision of Violet potentially becoming Venin, and that's why he goes to dedicate Violet to Dune to
Oh.
prevent that from happening? And then when they got there, the priestess is like, no, she has too many paths. Like her future isn't clear, so we can't proceed forward. Because who is this priestess that Mira found out this prophecy from? It had to have been the prophecy that was told to the parents and then to the grandmother of why they did this, and
Yeah.
then that's what the grandmother told Mira is of this priestess's prophecy about.
So Violet remembers, though, that the people of Umbriel had never seen dragons before. So it wasn't their mother that took her, it was her father.
Mhm.
Violet thinks that's why Brennan knows that little piece of the history and why he sent her there to retrieve the books. Brennan asks Mira exactly what the priestess said, and she said, the heart that beat for you or within you would do the wrong thing for the right reason and reach for unspeakable power and turn dark. So
Mhm.
this is where Xaden pipes up and says, it's not Violet, it's me. So now fucking Mira knows. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But Xaden does tell Violet through the bond that Mira doesn't intend to tell anyone about him,
Yeah,
which is,
Mira's pissed though. She's like, "Good luck. Peace. I'm out."
yeah. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? But I feel like
Yeah.
she's maybe a little relieved that it's not Violet, the
For
prophecy.
now, I still think that it has to do with Violet and not Xaden.
Maybe this is why they say you can come back because she's going to have the choice, Venin or dedication.
We'll have to keep reading,
Yeah,
which
I
we
guess
can do
so.
now after your
Yay! After we
predictions.
talked about our predictions. Talk
Well,
about
I already
predictions.
talked about my predictions throughout the episode because I can't wait. I have no patience.
Megan has no patience. I only have a couple here.
Yeah.
So one is I think Indarna will still be able to communicate with Violet no matter how far away she is from her once she develops her Irid skills. Like once she gets stronger, I think she's gonna come back into Violet's life, even if it's just a voice in her head.
Mhm.
I think it'll be within Violet's dreams, maybe first, and that's how she kind of gets the dream walker thing back and rolling. And then
Mhm.
she's gonna eventually be able to talk to her again.
Mhm.
She will start to dream again once she can communicate with Indarna because she does mention that she has not dreamt since.
Yeah.
And I think, too, Violet is definitely going to seek Theophany out now since they are literally one and the same. Rejects. I'm fucking souped, though, that we get to go finish this book. I've been dying to know what happens. I'm
Yep.
excited. So that's all we have for you today. Please let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in.
Yes, don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful. Bye.
Bye! Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week where we start part 6 of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, covering chapters 55 through 66. Happy reading!